The following is a presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are the Lions.
Well, what do you know? A little sunshine in Cincinnati, alas. And the Reds are back in town at Great American Ballpark to kick off a 6-game homestand. It begins with the first of 3 against the Florida Marlins. And hi again, everybody, alongside Chris Welsh. I'm Tom Brenneman. Welcome, as always, to Reds baseball. Young man on the mound here today. Off to a somewhat shaky start for maybe where we thought he might be through the first month of the season, but nonetheless, whenever Travis Wood is on the mound, you like your chances.
Well, I certainly like my chances because Travis Wood's a pitcher that shows me when you watch the hitter that they just don't pick the ball up that well. He's got a very good changeup. I think he's been pitching in some bad luck. You look at his numbers overall, you say a 5.4 in run average. That's not that great, but Wood is a guy that we've raised the level of expectation so high based on what he did last year. You've got to remember, this is just his second year in the major leagues, and it's not all that easy for a young kid to pitch there.
All right, now these Florida Marlins. Here they've won 15 of their first 23 games of the year. They're pitching as well as anybody, if not better than everybody in the National League. Playing better defense, but the one guy that's not gotten it going yet, their perennial all-star shortstop, Hanley Ramirez.
Yeah, it's really amazing that this team would get off with the kind of start that they have, given the fact that Hanley Ramirez has yet even to get hot at all. I mean, last year at this time, he's a 280 hitter, has hit a couple of home runs in April, and 7 runs batted in. This year he's batting under 200. He has not hit a home run since September of last year. This is the longest drought that Hanley Ramirez has had in his career where he's been homerless. So it's only a matter of time before pitchers around the league begin to get a payback from Hanley Ramirez. Let's hope it does not happen here this weekend.
You're right about that. On a pretty good roll to start here is center fielder Drew Stubbs. We'll talk about him when we return. Well, the Gold Glove Award winners from last season's National League Central Division Championship team being recognized on the field. Bronson Arroyo, Brandon Phillips, and, of course, Scott Rowland. That's part of the big giveaway here tonight on what is a lovely weather night. But what about the rest of the night? Tim Hedrick.
Looks like a nice night down at the old ball yard. We'll start in the upper 50s, fall down into the lower 50s. It's better for Cowboy that way because his ice cream sticks around a little longer. Give me a pitch. Give me a pitch. Give me a pitch. A little delay, but that wasn't bad.
Well, here's a guy playing some pretty good baseball, Chris, since he came up last year, Drew Stubb.
Well, the Reds had hoped that he would finally mature to the point where he would fit into that leadoff spot, relax a little bit, and do what his athleticism and talent will let him do. And so far, so good for Stubbs. On-base percentage up over 350. He's stolen 8 bases already. He's only been thrown out once. This is after having 30 stolen bases last year. He's going to blow right by that. But you see what he's done in the combination of the last couple of seasons. And when you compare him to the rest of the guys on the team, he's right there with guys like Votto and Jay Bruce for home runs and runs batted in and obviously first and stolen bases. This guy, he seems to be kind of flying under the radar from a PR standpoint, but this guy gets it done, and I think he's going to have a breakout year.
All right, we're set for baseball. Reds and Marlins squaring off in the big city tonight. Reds back home again. First pitch around the corner. When you need them, find an agent or get a quote at StateFarm.com. Buy your local Ford dealer. Ford, drive one. By the Regional Tourism Network. Book your trip at CincinnatiUSA.com. And by Skyline, whenever you're feeling good and hungry, it's Skyline time. Reds have taken the field on this lovely weather night for baseball at Great American Ballpark. And they get a look at the Florida Marlins for the first time in this young season. Under new manager Edwin Rodriguez, here's his lineup tonight. Emilio Bonifacios in left field, Omar Infante at second, Hanley Ramirez at short, Gaby Sanchez the first baseman, Mike Stanton in right, with John Buck behind the plate. Veteran Wes Helms down at third, Scott Cousins for the injured Chris Coughlin in center field, and Javier Vasquez, 1 win, 2 losses on the mound. Starting it for the Reds, also a 1-2 record, 24-year-old left-hander Travis Wood.
Well, Travis is coming off an outing against the St. Louis Cardinals. That was at St. Louis, 6 1/3 innings of 3-run baseball. And he did not walk anybody in that ball. He walked 1 in that ball game and struck out 5. He's always a guy that's going to be around the plate. He's got to have a good changeup working. Right now, the numbers against him are a little higher than you hope. I mean, especially with that opponent batting average, but sometimes that comes down to luck. 24 strikeouts overall in 28 innings. So I think if you look at Travis Wood as his whole body of work at the end of the year, you're going to like the fact that he's in this rotation. But that is part of it. The other part is he has to know that there are a couple of players that are coming off the disabled list, Johnny Cueto and Homer Bailey. They're projected to go back into the rotation. Somebody's going to have to be moved out. He better pitch well. At least he's probably thinking that.
Already set to go. Emilio Bonifacio to lead things off. The speedy left fielder. Wood into the windup and the pitch. It is strike one, says the home plate umpire Chad Fairchild, and we are underway. Crew chief Joe West at first. Angel Hernandez, the umpire, at second, with Paul Schreiber down at third. Bonifacio, a very fast runner. It's in the air, and he's doing you a favor when he does that, but it sails by Jay Bruce and goes to the wall. And Bonifacio not breaking stride. He will easily get to third. Well, that looked like a routine out. Instead, it's a three-base hit to begin the ball game.
Well, the ball carried, I think, a lot better than Jay Bruce thought. That, coupled with the fact that he was playing very shallow, and it looked like Jay took kind of a bad route to that ball. Really can't see it from that angle, but from where we are sitting, Tom, up in the third deck here behind home plate, you can kind of see kind of a curved way that he went around for that. And Bonifacio, he makes his money with his legs, and boy, he can boot scoot it around the bases.
So a scoring chance right from the get-go for the visitors from Florida. And here's Omar Infante. Came over during the offseason in the big trade with Atlanta involving Dan Utley. And he's quickly down a strike.
A little high home look at the Bruce attempt to try to catch this ball. Really can't see it right there. I mean, he kind of went straight into the gap and then realized the ball was carrying better than it was. I don't think that they really thought Bonifacio was going to be able to hit the ball over his head, and he burned him.
1 ball and 1 strike on Omar Infante, a National League All-Star, despite not being a regular player a season ago for the Atlanta Braves. Off to a slow start with his new team, but they very much believe his bat will come around. He's been outstanding in the field. Grounded foul, and Travis ahead at 1 ball and 2 strikes. Marlins coming off a 7-2 homestand. 3 different series against the Pirates, the Rockies, and the Dodgers. They feel like it should have been an 8-1 homestand, and this ball is in the air to deep left center. Stubbs will run it down, but plenty deep enough to bring in Bonifacio, and after 2 batters, it's 1-0 Marlins. The Reds tonight on defense, presented by Ford. They'll go with Jeremy Hermida, the former Marlin, in left field. Stubbs in center and Bruce in right. Cairo, Yanish, Phillips, and Votto along the infield in the battery. And Travis Wood and Ramon Hernandez. Bonifacio leads off the game, knocked in by that man he was smiling to. Omar Infante, 1-0 Marlins. It's strike 1 to Hanley Ramirez. See the numbers for Ramirez in his career against the Reds. That is major league damage, especially when you consider that the 2 teams are playing only 6 times on average per year. 9 home runs and 22 runs batted in. One and 2 on Ramirez. Only 27 years old is Hanley Ramirez. Came up originally with the Boston Red Sox, and then came over in the big trade involving Josh Beckett and Mike Lowell in 2005. And that one is down the right field line, and that is a fair ball into the corner. Second extra base hit through the first 3 batters of the game for Florida.
Well, all 3 of the hits that the Marlins have had tonight are when they're behind in the count. This looks like a fastball down and in. Ramirez does a nice job of inside outing that ball, but you know, when you're ahead 0-2, you know, it might be time for Travis Wood to expand the strike zone a little bit. See if these guys that are not swinging the bat all that well, like Ramirez, will start chasing some pitches rather than just continuing to pound the zone. He did it with Bonifacio. He did it with Omar Infante. That drive was a 1-2 pitch, and the last one was a 1-2 pitch.
Cleanup hitter, not a big power hitter. But they very much like the future of young Gabi Sanchez. 291 batter, 3 home runs, 10 knocked in. Played regularly at the big league level for the first time in his career last year, and hit 19 home runs, had nearly 40 doubles, and knocked in 85 runs. Chris, I remember we were down in Florida last year talking about this guy. Talked about the Marlins going 7-2 on that just completed homestand. They're not getting a lot of hits. Through those 9 games, they only average 7 hits per game. But thanks to 9 home runs during the homestand, they average 5 runs per game. That's generally, you know, been a Marlin team of the past. You may remember it was 2008 when, for the first time in Major League history, the Marlins had all 4 of their infielders hit 25 or more home runs in a season.
And that's not an easy ballpark to hit a home run in. Sanchez is one of those players, Tom, that came out of a big-time college program, went to the University of Miami. A lot like Yonder Alonso, where you come out of a program like that, and I can't say you're ready to hit in the big leagues, but he really made it very quickly to the major leagues. Signed in 2005, went to rookie ball, and he was in the big leagues by 2008.
Runner at second, 1 out, 1 in. 3-2 is ball 4. For the first time all year long, the last turn plus through the Reds starting rotation, they've gotten some pretty decent outings. You throw out the one Friday night game after all the rain and the tornadoes a week ago tonight in St. Louis, when Matt Maloney had to start. But you go all the way back to the Arizona series. Bronson Arroyo pitched into the 7th, allowed 3. Mike Leake went 7, allowed 3. Travis Wood, the 3 runs in St. Louis. Volquez pitched well in that Sunday night game, and then all 3 games in Milwaukee. The Red starters outside of the finale and Sam LeCure pitched very well. First pitch swinging, Mike Stanton, and that's playable. 2 out. Tonight marks the 6th consecutive game at Great American Ballpark where the Reds have allowed a first inning run. 6 straight games. Now the catcher, John Buck. Buck came up originally through the Houston organization, was traded to Kansas City, where he was their regular catcher for nearly 5 years. And signed with Toronto last season, where he hit 20 home runs and knocked in 66 runs. Very slow to get started offensively through the first month this year. And Travis Wood hoping to keep it that way. A ball and a strike.
Well, he's one of the big free agent signings that the Marlins had last year. They signed Buck to a 3-year deal, nearly $20 million invested in this young guy, and he handles the pitching staff very well. But, you know, obviously you've got to hit. When you look up and down the lineup of the Marlins, you wonder how they've already won 15 games with the really batting average is not all that great. They make the most out of the averages that they have been able to get. Have won some tight ball games. Buck came on the scene and started the season out great with a grand slam home run on opening day.
Of course, they are missing tonight anyway 2/3 of their outfield. Logan Morrison is on the disabled list with an injured arch in his foot. And although he's not on the disabled list, Chris Coughlin, their regular center fielder, re-injured his right shoulder. That's been troublesome for him going all the way back to spring training this year. And so he is not in the lineup tonight, although we're told he is available to pinch hit. Two and two, 2 out, 2 on, and the Marlins leading 1-0. That one's down the right field line and out of play, thankfully.
You know, Buck is not a tremendous home run hitter, but year in and year out, if he gets everyday playing time, and he's had not all that many years in the big leagues where he's played every day. I mean, he's been a regular catcher, but catchers get their fair share of time off. He had his high water mark last year of 20 home runs, and he had it at a good time, and that was when he was a free agent.
Ramirez at second, Sanchez at first, and that's in the air and hit pretty well. Bruce looks up, and it is gone. A 3-run home run by Buck, and Wood is getting knocked around aplenty here in the first inning. It is a 4-0 game.
If I'm not mistaken, every one of the pitches that he has given up, and they've been some line drives in his inning, have all come on the fastball. Here he is again with 2 strikes on the hitter, a 2-2 count, a fastball. And just the pitch before, John Buck nearly kept the ball fair down the right field line on a fastball, and he came right back with another pitch, and he inside-outed it out of here.
So a big first inning for the Marlins, rolling into Cincinnati. With that little flare, the Marlins have batted for the cycle here in the opening inning. They got Ocasio, triple by him, a double by Ramirez, a home run from Buck, and now a single from Wes Helms.
Well, they changed it up that time. That was a change up that Wes Helms got out on the end of the bat, but still another base hit. Boy, just having one of those nights. I mean, that's not all that bad of a pitch. That's down in the lower outside quadrant. In fact, it's outside the strike zone, and he still gives up a base hit on it. Tough assignment now for Wood and Brian Price. For Price to try to convince Wood, don't have to make a perfect pitch here. You're making some decent pitches, but they're hitting them. But maybe move somebody off the plate, maybe bounce one here and there. When you get ahead, let's really expand the strike zone and put the onus on the hitter to put the ball in play with your pitch, not necessarily giving them their pitch.
8th man to bat in the inning is center fielder Scott Cousins, and there's a first pitch swing and a miss. 0-1 to Cousins. Limited playing time for Scott Cousins. 1 home run, 4 runs batted in. You know, normally we talk about it all the time. Chris, you talk about it frequently. The first time generally a pitcher sees a team on the mound, and that is the case tonight for Wood. Not a single Marlin has ever faced him. The advantage goes to the pitcher.
Yeah, it usually is. It looks like the Marlins are just trying to see the ball hit the ball, and they've done a pretty good job here in the first inning.
Marlins only a half game behind the Philadelphia Phillies in the National League East. Told you they come in with a record of 15-8. That's the 3rd best record in the National League.
You know, it seems like year after year they overachieve, that people don't give them the credit that they deserve at the very beginning of the year because they may have lost some of their guys to free agency that they can't sign in that market. They trade away a big hitter like Dan Uggla, and they say, well, how are you ever going to make up his offense? But here they are with 15 wins. Just perennially an overachieving bunch of players.
Been a 30-pitch opening inning for Travis Wood, and it continues. 2-2 the count on Cousins. Runner at first, 4 runs home. Wes Helms will get started on this 3-2 pitch, and here it is. In the air down the left field line. We'll see if Hermida has room. He does not. We'll do it again. Ball 4. 8 Marlins have batted. 4 of them have hits. 2 of them have drawn walks. So the pitcher will bat here in the first inning, Javier Vasquez.
That's a call you never like to make in the first inning.
Vasquez 1 out of 4 as a batter this year, and he takes high for ball 1.
I mean, the real bad game that Travis Wood had previous to this was right here in this ballpark against the Pittsburgh Pirates on April the 18th. 3 innings of 6-run, 8-hit baseball. He got roughed up a little bit in Arizona when the Reds were out in Phoenix. But he's pitched a real good game. His first start of the year against the Milwaukee Brewers. Pitched an excellent game against the San Diego Padres, and not all that bad the last time out against the Cardinals at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. But he's got to figure out a way to get out of this inning by getting the pitcher out right here. I mean, this is absolutely a must. You roll this lineup over, and that number on the board might get real big.
Fouled away, and that'll even the count on Vasquez at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Told you the Reds opening a 6-game homestand here tonight. 3 against the Marlins, followed by 3 against the Astros. 2 on, 2 out. 2-2 pitch is ball 3. And you got to wonder if this will be the final pitch of the night, one way or the other for Wood. Certainly, if he retires aside, they don't go to the bullpen in the second inning. But Carlos Fisher is more than ready in the bullpen. Still 3-2 to Vasquez. '40th pitch of the opening inning coming up for Travis Wood. If he's going to retire the opposing pitcher, Vasquez is going to make him earn it. Runner start again on the 3-2. And it's back up through the middle, and it's a base hit that'll bring in another run. So Vasquez with a run scoring single, and it is 5-0 Marlins.
Now that's a nice job of hitting by Javier Vasquez. I mean, he fouled off a couple of pretty good pitches. Finally, it looks like either a cutter or a slider by Travis Wood to put him away on a 3-2 pitch. And he bounces it right back through the box. So the Marlins have batted around, put 5 on the board, and they're not done yet. It's a bad feeling for a starting pitcher out there, I can tell you. You know, you go out there and you feel like everything that they hit is going to find a hole. They've had a ball just go over your right fielder's glove. Yes, they've had some hard balls, including an opposite field home run, but you're looking for a way to try to stem it right here, and you're just not sure that you have the stuff tonight to do it.
Bonifacio led off the game with that line drive that sailed past the glove of Jay Bruce in right center field. Bonifacio wound up with a triple. The next batter knocked him in on a sac fly. So he had 1 out with nobody on and a run home. But ever since then, Wood has only managed to retire 1 batter. A double by Ramirez, a walk to Sanchez. He got Stanton on the pop-up. But since then, 4 straight Marlins have reached. A home run by Buck, single by Helms, walk to Cousins, single by Vasquez. One-two pitch. Count even up. On the ground, slowly hit. And that will mercifully end the first inning. A 5-run first for the Marlins. The bad news is the Reds are down 5-0. The good news is they're coming to bat in the first inning. And here's their starting lineup. Dusty's starting lineup as Drew Stubbs in center, Jay Bruce in right, Joey Votto at first, Brandon Phillips again in the cleanup spot, Jeremy Hermida, the starter in left field, Miguel Cairo at third, Ramon Hernandez, Paul Janisch, and Travis Wood, the latter third. Well, and if there's one guy that has been a very consistent pitcher throughout his major league career, Chris, it is Javier Vasquez.
Well, you're not kidding about that, Tom. 34-year-old right-hander from a native of Ponce, Puerto Rico. Originally broke in with the Montreal Expos back in 1998. He's played with the Yankees, the Diamondbacks, 3 years with the White Sox, the Atlanta Braves, again with the Yankees last year. And here he finds himself with a 1-2 record with the Marlins. A guy that is always known for having a real good curveball. That was always his signature pitch, a sinking fastball. Velocity not what it once was. He used to throw in the low to mid-90s. Now he's about 88, 89.
Drew Stubbs to lead it off. 271 batter. Does have 5 home runs with 12 runs batted in. We'll see if the Reds can put up some crooked numbers and climb right back into this thing after falling behind in the top of the first 5-0, and that is a foul ball. It's interesting to note Vasquez has always been a big-time strikeout pitcher. In fact, among all active pitchers that are in the major leagues today, he leads every one of them in strikeouts.
Yeah, you'd win a trivia question on that. But he's had several seasons of 200 strikeouts or more.
And he generally has had very good control, which is why his control issues so far this year, and granted it's only 4 starts in less than 20 innings, come as a surprise. And there's that breaking ball. And guys tend to throw a lot looser and a lot freer when they have a 5-0 lead in the first inning.
Well, they do. You know, you can kind of challenge hitters a little bit more, but that doesn't mean with Vasquez that you're going to see a fastball as a challenge. He'll throw that curveball for a strike, and he spins one up there, and Drew Stubbs gives up on it. It curls right in there for strike 3.
So now Jay Bruce, batting average at .247, 3 home runs and 10 runs batted in. He looks at strike 1 on the inside corner. Jay, the last 3 games has hit in this number 2 spot, and 4 hits and 12 at bats, batting second in the lineup this year.
You know, Tom, even though you have a 5-run lead, a lot of times, you know, if it's in the middle of the game, late in the game, you're down by 5, you're taking a pitch. But if you want to hit a fastball for Vasquez, you better come out of the batters or out of the on-deck circle ready to swing the bat.
This ball driven in a deep right center field, and watching it go is Cousins, and Bruce has played long ball.
Well, that was a fastball. A 1-1 count. Javier Vasquez tried to sneak one by Jay Bruce, who's seeing the ball a lot better. Picked up 3 hits the other day. Began to use the entire ballpark. His swing is coming around a little bit. And this is a no-doubter. Four more of those, you got a tie ball game.
Ball 1 to Joey Votto. Did you think of that yourself?
Did a little arithmetic on the side. I'm glad he took his time around the base paths. Now the point, and you know what? That's what pitching coaches say when they give you a lead and you give up a solo shot. What are the chances of you now giving up 4 more home runs? And that's the idea, meaning, hey, continue to throw strikes, make them hit the ball to earn it.
Votto at .379, 16 runs batted in. 2 balls and a strike to Joey, with Brandon Phillips waiting. Boy, it is so nice to see that bright sunshine again. It seems like forever. We've had so much rain through the heartland of America. It's in the air down a left field line, where the speedy Bonifacio will run it down for the second out of the inning. Take a look at Florida defensively, brought to you by Ford. Cousins flanked by Bonifacio and Stanton. Helms and Sanchez, the corner infielders. Ramirez and Infante very good up the middle. Vasquez and Buck, the batter. 2 down, 1 in for Brandon Phillips. Of course, with all the rain we've had here of late, the river level still very, very high. In there, strike to Brandon Phillips. Last 4 games for Brandon Phillips. A home run, 3 doubles, 6 runs batted in. Of course, he's forced now to bat back in that cleanup spot with the injury to Scott Rowland. And Dusty Baker going to juggle that lineup on a pretty regular basis, I would imagine, Chris, until Rowland comes back.
Yeah, you're exactly right about that. I mean, this is an opportunity now for Dusty Baker to use his whole roster. And I say opportunity, he'd much rather be able to pencil Scott Rowland in there every day in the number 4 spot. But you're going to see different players playing third base and different players in different parts of the lineup, just trying to keep the offense fresh. But so far, so good for Brandon Phillips, who was switched from the number 2 spot down the cleanup spot. He had a monster series in Milwaukee.
Two and 2 on Brandon Phillips with 2 down and none on. It's down the right field line towards a corner, and it's out of play. Fly ball in a straightaway center field. That'll be Cousins waving off Bonifacio, and that's that in the Reds' first inning. They get a solo home run from Jay Bruce and trail at the end of one. 5-1 Marlins. Please call 1-800-ELK-OHIO. Boy, how good did Aroldis Chapman look in Milwaukee?
He looked like he was the man, and that he knew he was the man. And when you get a pitcher with his talent feeling like that, look out.
Got a couple of huge outs to keep it a tie ball game. Sailed through the 10th inning as well, enabling the Reds to get that home run. Drew Stubbs to win that series 2-1. Inning at 2/3, allowed the one hit, punched out a couple, and a 2-0 start without an earned run allowed by Aroldis Chapman here in 2011. Omar Infante, Hanley Ramirez, and Gabi Sanchez against Travis Wood in the second inning. The Marlins got 5 runs, 2 walks, 5 hits in the first. Infante with a sac fly run batted in. Pretty slick play down there by Joey Espada, the third base coach. There's a pop up into foul ground. It's playable for Joey Votto. And that's on number 1. Of course, when the Marlins come into town, it's a big homecoming for their general manager. Of course, for many, many years, it was Larry Beinfest. But he's been moved up to the Marlins president of baseball operations. And now their vice president general manager is Michael Hill. Michael grew up right here in Cincinnati, born and raised. Played football, baseball, and basketball out at Cincinnati Country Day School. We understand the Marlins television crew went out to Cincinnati Country Day School today to do a very nice piece with Mike. I mean, he's a hero out that way.
Well, you're not kidding. Also played for the Midland Redskins, I believe, in his youth years of playing baseball here.
And not only that, he went to Harvard.
We wouldn't know anything about that.
I don't know if I can spell Harvard. Here's There's a 2-0 count on Hanley Ramirez, and that pitch misses way inside. 3 balls and no strikes. Pitch on Ramirez, and it's in there, a strike. Of course, the last time we saw the Marlins, Freddie Gonzalez was their manager. 3-2 on Ramirez. He is now the manager, of course, of the Atlanta Braves. Took over for Bobby Cox. Edwin Rodriguez became the manager last year when they fired Gonzalez. And before spring training began, Rodriguez did something which was quite interesting. He sent out a manual, part of a homework assignment, if you will, to all of the Marlins major league coaches and their minor league managers and coaches. As there's a 2-hopper to short, and Giannis will throw out Ramirez for out number 2. And in that handbook, that manual, he brought up the question, how do you recommend we start teaching our organization about winning 1-run games and 2-run games? Edwin Rodriguez had noticed that last year in Major League Baseball, 80% of the games, think about this, 80% of the games last season in Major League Baseball were decided by 2 runs or less. And while the Marlins were okay in the 2-run games, they were brutal in the 1-run games. There's a base hit into center field. And everybody had their thoughts and opinions on what you would have to do, and the idea being not only are we going to do it at the major league level, Rodriguez said, when we bring up guys from the minor leagues, I want them taught to do the same things in tight ball games, so when they get up here, they know how to do it.
Interesting theory, Tom, but you know, from what I've read and heard from baseball people over the years, 1-run games are almost a streak of luck, whether you win them or you lose them. And a lot of times that can be determined whether you're going to be in the championship or whether you're going to be second or third place on how you do in 1-run ball games. But the fact that you're playing in a 1-run game shows that your team is right there, right at the edge of a win. Whether it goes your way or not, you can't always tell. Now, what you don't want to do, of course, is lose a ball game by 1 run after giving up the lead late in the game. Those are the kind of games that kill you. But I'm not so sure that there's a formula that you can figure out to win those 1- or 2-run games. If they figured something out, I'd love to know what it is.
Well, the one thing that cannot be denied is simply this. There were 4 National League playoff teams last year. Their combined record in 1-run games was 107-90. In the American League, the 4 teams that went to the playoffs were 110-82 in 1-run games. And that was part of the thinking, apparently, of Rodriguez. He said, hey, look, no matter what it is, and clearly there is no simple formula to doing it, but the teams that are winning championships and going to the postseason are winning a lot of 1-run games. And 2 on Mike Stanton, who popped up to Joey Votto his first time up, and this time he strikes out swinging. A scoreless second. So the Reds come to bat, trailing 5-1. Minutes before every game with Reds Live on Fox Sports Ohio, presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing. And during this entire homestand, Jeff Pecoro and Jim Day will have Reds Live for you, the pregame version and the postgame. Marlins got 5 runs in the top of the first inning. The Reds get 1 back on a home run by Jay Bruce in the second. So after a scoreless top of the second inning, here come the Reds, Hermida, Cairo, and Hernandez. Hermida, a real lightning rod for the fans and the press during his tenure in Florida. And a lot of folks, it felt like they should have hung on to him, but his best years were still to come, and there were many others that felt like, he is what he is, and it's time to make way and give some other guys a chance. Chris Coughlin was the guy they gave the chance a couple of years ago, and he won the National League Rookie of the Year award.
Well, Jeremy Hermida had a nice spring for the Reds. He's a well-rounded player. He plays good defense. He's got a nice arm. He's a little above average runner. He can hit for power. When he's right, he hits for average, but he's certainly not getting off to the start here with the Reds that he had hoped. I mean, he's 0 for 12. He has struck out 6 times. Has not received a walk yet, and from what I see, he's having a problem covering this part of the zone out here. He kind of pulls off the ball, and they've consistently pitched him outside.
And there's another strikeout for Hermida.
They set him up with a fastball, and they got him with an off-speed pitch right here. Come right inside there. I'm not sure if that's a little bit of a slider or some kind of an off-speed changeup from Vasquez, but not often do you see a right-hander go down and in with a changeup. Usually it's a little slider down and in.
One out for Miguel Cairo. Miguel has played so well once again, playing in place of Scott Rowland, has a 6-game hitting streak. 7 hits in his last 21 at bats. He started 7 of the last 8 games at third base. Well, it seems like every time he comes to the plate, Chris, he's giving you a quality at bat and playing a quality game.
Well, you really want to get him to the plate with runners on base. He's one of the league leaders in batting average this year with runners in scoring position. And he just seems to battle you more and more and more like that.
Of course, he had a big base hit and a come from behind win Saturday over the Cardinals. Two and 1 to Cairo. Short right. Easy for Mike Stanton. 2 are gone. We'll join FoxSportsOhio.com's Hall of Fame writer Hal McCoy right now for a live in-game chat. And you can also check in on the latest from the Bengals draft on FoxSportsOhio.com, presented by 1-800-SAFE-AUTO and SafeAuto.com. Hey, big congratulations, by the way, to one of the greatest high school football players ever in the history of Cincinnati. Played collegiately at Notre Dame before he got hurt last year. Tight end Kyle Rudolph, drafted in the 2nd round tonight by the Minnesota Vikings. So congratulations, Kyle Rudolph, and everybody in your hometown will be rooting for you. An elder Panther, Kyle Rudolph.
Nice.
Yeah, boy, what a great player he was at Notre Dame, and had that injury last year which forced him to miss the second half of the season. Most people felt like he was a lock to be a 1st-round draft choice before the injury. But a 2nd-round pick, and congratulations, Kyle Rudolph and his family and all his friends. Ramon Hernandez at 289, couple of home runs and 9 runs batted in. Hernandez took a 5-game hitting streak with him on the road and wound up hitless through St. Louis and Milwaukee. That's a fair ball down to third. And Helms will throw out Hernandez in a perfect second for Javier Vasquez. We go to the third, 5-1 Florida.
I'm not a patient person. Y'all should know that. I like to swing the bat. So, you know, I got to try to, you know, let the game come to me instead of me trying to go after the game and, you know, try to go up there and have a good game.
Well, no matter what the Reds have asked him to do, Brandon Phillips has done it and done it exceptionally well. Just gotten off to a terrific start here in this 2011 year. Our Geico Direct quote from Brandon Phillips. All right, here we go into third. It'll be Buck, Helms, and Cousins against Travis Wood. Florida 5 runs and 5 hits in the very first inning. And a 5-1 lead batting in the third. Buck delivered the big blow in that 5-run first inning with 2 on and 2 out after fouling off a pitch that was nearly a double down the right field line. Got a pitch away from him again, and he drove it to the seats over the wall in right field. 3-run home run.
I know it's early in the year, but John Buck has really struggled on the road. I mean, coming into this ball game, he only had 3 hits. On the road and no home runs. Got his second home run of the year, and it looks like Travis is beginning to get it down a little bit. Let's hope it's not too little too late. After a curveball that bounces in the dirt, he comes in and touches the bottom and the end part of the strike zone. That's a little more like it. Now, Buck was 3 for 26 with 1 run batted in on the road before that 3-run bomb he hit.
Wes Helms, a little bloop single in the center field, and he scored the 5th and final run in that first inning. Scored on a base hit by the pitcher Javier Vasquez. Helms has made a very nice living for himself in this game. Been around a long time. Primarily as a pinch hitter. A couple of times he's had a chance to be a regular player in Atlanta, with Milwaukee, and getting pretty significant playing time right now with the Marlins. Of course, he's a nephew of a long time Cincinnati Red Tommy Helms. 2-2. Well, Wes, a lot like Tommy. Very easygoing guys to talk to, fun to be around.
Well, of all the teams that Wes Helms has had regular playing time against, and the Reds being one of them, he's got by far the best batting average against the Reds than any other team. He just seems to come up with big hits at the worst time for his uncle's old team. Lifetime of .338 hitter with 8 home runs against this Red Lake ball club.
Atlanta's jumped in front at the end of one over the Cardinals. A 2-0 game down at Turner Field. There's a fly ball to short right, and Jay in to get it for out number 2. Going into play tonight, we look at the National League Central Division standings presented by Honda. St. Louis scoring 9 runs in 1 inning last night to come back and beat the Astros. They won that series 2-1. Reds a game back, coming off a series win in Milwaukee. The Cubs were pounded last night, and the first of 4 in Arizona. Ryan Dempster could not get out of the first inning last night. Walked 4 batters and gave up 7 runs.
Yeah, listen to that game on the radio last night, Tom, and it was one of those outings. It sounded a lot like what Travis Wood was going through here in the first inning at Great American Ballpark tonight, where eventually they were just hitting the ball. It was finding holes. He walked batters in the inning. They were hitting the ball hard too, because everything that he threw up there was ripped. Travis was figuring that same kind of thought pattern here in the first inning. What do I have to do to get out of this inning?
1-1 to Scott Cousins, and it's in the air, foul territory, third base side. And off the top of the dugout it goes, and the chase begins. It's like a scrum down there. And Johnny Bench got the ball.
Four more and he'll have a handful. What did Johnny Bench? You're going to hold 5 baseballs in his hand?
Yeah, they have that picture down the hall here.
Yeah. Those are some big mitts.
Somebody is telling me it's 7 baseballs. There's no way that's right, is it? 7 baseballs?
7.
I don't know. 1-2 to count. I remember that was a big deal when he did it. It is 7 baseballs.
No kidding.
Strick, thank you very much. Strick just got a pretty face behind the camera.
That's why we pay him the big bucks.
Exactly right. 1-2 to count on Scott Cousins. And a check swing, foul ball. We'll do it again. One and two the count. Travis up over the 80 pitch mark, and here we are in the 3rd inning. Of course, over half of those pitches came in that 5-run first. Tries to put Cousins away, and does. So his first perfect inning of the night. We go to the bottom of the 3rd. The Reds still trail by 4. Reds fans, if a Reds player hits a Toyota sign during our game tonight, Mike Harding of Hamilton, who currently owns a 2010 4Runner, will win this beautiful new Tundra on display here at Great American Ballpark. You can register by stopping by your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. Belated happy birthday to Marilyn Browdy, 88 years young yesterday. Of course, her son John works with us each and every night here at Great American Ballpark and has for a long, long time. So Marilyn Browdy, happy 88th, young lady. Hope you had a great day yesterday and a great weekend and many, many more birthdays to come. Liner right at Wes Helms off the bat of Paul Giannis to begin the bottom of the third inning.
Here's a guy coming around a little bit, and Paul Giannis squaring up the ball much better. Had a nice series in Milwaukee. Saw his batting average coming up a little bit, up to the 280 mark.
Now Travis Wood, the batter. Wood 0 for 9 so far this year. Breaking ball lifted into short left center field. Bonifacio started back, comes in. And that's 7 in a row retired by Vasquez. The only Red to reach base was Jay Bruce with that home run in the first inning. Fox Saturday Baseball. Talked about the Cardinals and the Braves. They'll lock up tomorrow at a special time of 12:30 Eastern, beginning with this week in baseball.
Tom, also a belated happy birthday to Sister Alma Louise Conan, member of the St. Francis of Oldenburg, celebrating her 100th birthday.
Wow.
For 49 years, she's been teaching in schools all throughout Indiana and Ohio. We wish her a very, very happy birthday. Number 100, Sister Alma Louise.
Indeed. Happy birthday.
Have a lot of friends down here at the ballpark, you do, sister. I was notified upon coming in the ballpark tonight of what your big day was yesterday. And a huge Reds fan.
Happy birthday indeed. 1-2 on Drew Stubbs, who looked at a breaking ball for strike 3 his first time up tonight. 5 runs, 6 hits for the Marlins. 1 run, 1 hit for the Reds against Javier Vasquez. Vasquez, a very quick worker, one of the more likable players in baseball. Had a chance to be around him the 1 year you mentioned he pitched in Arizona. Very much a perfectionist in every sense of the word. And what I mean is, obviously, he wants to be the best pitcher he can be, but you know, when he came from Puerto Rico, he immediately went to work on learning to speak the English language and wants to do it perfectly. Dresses impeccably, his class, a very regal-like young man. I tell you what, you can do a lot worse than having him as part of your starting rotation. He may not win 20 games, he may not win a Cy Young Award, but you can pencil him in every 5 days, and more times than not, he'll give you a good start. That's down the right field line, hit pretty well, but room for Stanton, and that will retire the side. Reds go in order. We move to the 4th. Reds still down to the Marlins 5-1. Proudly serving America's restaurants, schools, retailers, and our military around the world. JTM Food Group. By your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. For a dealer near you, visit buyatoyota.com. Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. And by John Deere. Visit your local Cincinnati John Deere dealer this deer season. 9-1-2 in the Marlins batting order against Travis Wood here in the top of the 4th inning. Florida with a 5-1 lead. All 5 runs coming against Wood in the 1st inning. And the final run was driven in by the pitcher Vasquez on a single into center field. Vasquez shoots one into right field. Well, that's a nice piece of hitting. 2 at-bats in a row by the Florida pitcher. You remember his first time up, he worked the count full, fouled off a couple of pitches before knocking in that run with a base hit.
Something to brag about right there. 2 for 2 as a pitcher, also holding a 5-1 lead.
Going to look at our Performance Honda X Mode look on that base hit. And here's another one that same direction off the bat of Bonifacio. Vasquez on his way to third base and dropping anchor at second after a double is Bonifacio.
I imagine that's going to get him going in the bullpen pronto, given the fact that Travis Wood has already given up 5 runs. He's up around the 90 pitch mark, and he's not going to be in the ball game much longer anyway. And you really can't afford to give these Marlins a whole lot more as a way of offense, because you're going to just bury yourself in a deep hole.
Bonifacio had 3 extra base hits the entire year coming into the series. He has a triple and a double so far tonight.
A dual purpose message for Brian Price. One is to give some time to the bullpen to get it up and going again, trying to get those guys loose, and the other is just try to settle them down. Even though you're down by 4, you're not out of the ball game. You're thinking about getting outs though here, trying to get a ground ball. But quite frankly, you know, Travis Wood is not all that much of a ground ball pitcher. In fact, he's only had 1 out tonight on a ground ball. 88 pitches overall. He's throwing strikes, but they're hitting them pretty good.
So now Omar Infante with runners at second and third and nobody out. The Reds have the infield about halfway in. Remember, that's a pitcher running at third base. Well, the Marlins have brought their hitting shoes here to Cincinnati. Talked about during their 9-game homestand, they only averaged 7 hits a game. And remember, it was a good homestand. They won 7 of those 9 games. Well, they're through 3+ innings tonight, and they have 8 hits so far against Travis Wood. Liner into left. Will they have the runner tag? No, they will not. Hermida air mails a cutoff man, but that's out number 1.
That ball hit so hard, the runner at third base, of course, remember, it is the pitcher Vasquez. Really didn't have a whole lot of chance to set himself up and get him ready to go. He made a look at it, but there's no reason in a ball game like this, when you're up by 4, to push your pitcher into a situation where he may end up colliding with the catcher.
Well, now the question is, Chris, do you think about walking Hanley Ramirez and setting up the double play ball facing Gavi Sanchez?
Well, the way he's going so poorly, I mean, you really kind of want to pitch to Hanley Ramirez, but that would be the thinking if you were Travis Wood. He's not going to get a chance.
So a short night for Travis. Of course, he feels like it's a really long night. Our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen will bring on Carlos Fisher. 5-1, Marlins in front. Well, hits have been everywhere so far for the Marlins here tonight. 8 of them through 3 1/3 innings, forcing the departure of Travis Wood and the entrance of Carlos Fisher.
Well, those are the numbers on Carlos last year when he was up and down with the Reds a couple of different times. 18 games overall, always used as kind of a long man, guy that either gets in early in the ball game or if the Reds go into extra innings. Trying to save a couple of runs out there for Travis Wood, who already has 5 of them. They're credited his numbers tonight.
Well, the Reds will pitch to Hanley Ramirez, who has doubled, scored, and bounced out to shortstop. Runners at second and third. And Ramirez quickly down a strike, and he's flexing that right hand, that right wrist. You wonder if he injured himself on that swing.
Well, the way he's hitting this year, you wonder if maybe he's injured himself earlier this season. This is very un-Hanley-like when you see him batting under 200.
Of course, Ramirez had a number of issues last year. I mean, his overall numbers were pretty good, but nowhere close to where they had been every year prior since coming to the big leagues in 05. Had to run in with his manager, and many questioned his leadership abilities. He showed up in spring training and said, I'm going to carry this team on my back the entire year. We'll see how it plays out. 1-1 on Hanley Ramirez. And Carlos ahead at 1 ball and 2 strikes.
We saw Hanley Ramirez as a prospect with the Red Sox for so many years when the Reds trained in Sarasota and the Red Sox are down in Fort Myers. And all we heard every year was that this kid is an up-and-comer. He's a prospect that will be an impact player, and he's an untouchable. That is, until you trade a pitcher like Josh Beckett for him in a 7-player trade.
1-2 on Hanley Ramirez. And the other big part of that deal was Mike Lowell.
Yeah.
I mean, even though Lowell in the last couple of years has had will really miss almost all of his potential playing time with an injured hip. Lowell gave the Red Sox a couple of real good years. Of course, he helped lead him to a world championship, did Mike Lowell. In fact, he won the World Series Most Valuable Player Award for Boston. Still 1-2 on Hanley Ramirez. Back up through the middle and took a bad hop. This will bring in 2 more runs, and it's 7-1 Florida.
Boy, hit very sharply. A little different swing for Ramirez when he gets the ball down in the zone. Just kind of dropped the head on it, busted right past Carlos Fisher, and it took a bad hop off the forearm of the second baseman Brandon Phillips. Boy, this infielder's playing fast.
It's a 2-run single by Ramirez, so they made the decision they were going to pitch to Hanley Ramirez. And he drives in 2, close the book on Travis Wood.
And that's a case again where you're ahead of the Marlins hitters. You've got a 1-ball, 2-strike count, and you throw a pitch that might be a decent strike, but you have some pitches and you've got an opening at the base.
Ramirez running, and he's thrown out. Not sure Ramirez agreed with the call made by Angel Hernandez.
Well, Ramon Hernandez has been very good behind the plate throwing runners out. Pitchers have given him a chance. He's definitely out on that. He may not think so, but it looks like Brandon got the tag down. This throw right on the money.
Marlins only 10 out of 18 so far this year in stolen base attempts. But Ramirez did deliver a big 2-run single. So 2 are out, bases empty, 1-1 on Gaby Sanchez.
Getting back to the point, Tom, is that when you get ahead of the hitters and you have a base open and you've got a 1-2 count, there's no reason why that 1-2 pitch has to be a strike. Even if you end up walking Ramirez, you've got the bases loaded and a chance for a double play to get you out of the inning. I just don't think that either pitcher we've seen tonight, Travis Wood or Carlos Fisher, and just a couple of batters that we've seen, have expanded the strike zone enough, or at least attempted to do so, to see if the Marlins will start wildly hacking. I mean, you're throwing them a lot of strikes. Sometimes that can be a bad thing. Sounds funny, but it can be.
Marlins have reached double digits in hits so far tonight. We're only in the 4th inning. Here's Stanton, who's 0 for 2. Liner into right, he's 0 for 3. But 2 more runs for the Marlins. 7 allowed by Wood in 3 1/3. And it's a 6-run spread. Time now for our AT&T trivia question. Who leads the Reds with the most all-time home runs against the Florida Marlins? Give you a little while to think about that. Reds down 7-1 as they bat in the 4th inning. Jay Bruce, Joey Votto, Brandon Phillips. Jay homered in the 1st inning. In fact, he is the only Red to reach base tonight against Javier Vazquez. Of course, Jay Bruce tonight caught our ceremonial first pitch by Special Olympian Molly Hinka. Molly and her mom, Carrie, are guests tonight, thanks to our friends here in Cincinnati at Procter & Gamble. For 31 years, they have given over $20 million to Special Olympics. And, of course, for Jay Bruce, he knows all about Special Olympics. He has a 29-year-old sister who is a Special Olympian. And she has, of course, made such a great impact on Jay Bruce's life growing up. And he frequently talks about all the lessons that he learned from his sister. Vazquez coming into the game had walked 16 batters in 19 innings. Not a single walk so far tonight.
I can hardly remember even a 3-ball count tonight.
Well, they charged Vazquez, I believe, for a ball in this at bat because he went to his mouth standing on the rubber. It used to be you couldn't do it standing on the mound. And that was a silly rule, so they changed it where you can't do it standing on the rubber. There's ball 4 to Bruce, so it is his first walk issue tonight. Let's see if the Reds can.
Well, the rule was changed, Tom, because it would delay the game. Pitchers would walk off the mound into the grass area, lick their fingers to get a little moisture, wipe it off, and then get back onto the mound. Now they've changed the rule so that as a pitcher, you can go to your mouth on the mound, not while you're in contact with the rubber, as long as you wipe it off or show the umpire that you're wiping it off.
Now Joey Votto, he popped up to Bonifacio in left field, his first at bat.
Joey Votto again in a league by himself when it comes to one of these, what I think is an important category in baseball, this walk to strikeout differential. How many more walks do you have than strikeout? Usually this number is way higher than the walks on most every player out there. And this is the best of the best right here. Votto above everybody. And usually at the end of the year you'll see a guy like Albert Pujols who has more walks and strikeouts.
Albert Pujols a couple of years ago had more home runs than strikeouts.
That's a whole new category right there. I mean, it shows you a couple of things. Number one, a good eye by Joey Votto, but this year also how pitchers are pitching around Votto a little bit differently now because he won the MVP. So it's going to mean somebody in this lineup has to step up behind Votto to give him a little of the same protection that he's affording Jay Bruce, batting in front of him. I mean, everybody wants to bat in front of Joey Votto. You're going to get a lot of fastballs that way.
Two and one to Joey. Jay Bruce at first. And there's ball 3. Two on Votto. Bruce running. And it's ball 4. So after not walking a batter through the first 3 innings, walks have come consecutively here in the Reds' 4th to Bruce and Votto, and maybe you can turn this into a big inning.
Well, you don't have to get all 6 runs to tie the game up in this inning, but if you put a 2 or 3 or 4 spot on the board, you're right back into things. I mean, the ball to strike differential there for Javier Vazquez, not all that much. I mean, he's thrown 29 balls or 29 strikes and 21 balls. So it's not exactly peppering the strike zone with strike after strike. His manager still wants to know where that pitch is, or was.
Brandon Phillips. He flied out to short center field, his only time up tonight. 2 on, nobody out. Reds down 7-1. But we're only in the 4th inning. Breaking ball is low. Count on Brandon Phillips, and excuse me, swing there.
Brandon was talking as we saw the little voice clip of Brandon an inning or so ago about his adjustment to the number 4 spot in the order, one of which was you have to be a little more patient, and he's not a patient guy. Tough for him to do that. That's why he took that swing. He maybe trying to do a little too much right here. You make Vazquez throw a strike here, and a good one.
Jay Bruce a runner at second. Joey Votto on at first. And a breaking ball is popped up. So now it's Jeremy Hermida. Hermida looking for his first hit as a Red. 0 for his first 13, struck out his first time up tonight. You know he'd love to get that first hit as a Red, to knock in a run, if not knock in 3. against his original team, these Florida Marlins. In the air right field, did he get enough? And did he get it? It is gone. And all of a sudden, with that 3-run home run, the first hit by Jeremy Hermida as a Red, Cincinnati's back in this ball game, down by 3.
You talked about getting a huge monkey off your back right here. This nearly robbed by Mike Stanton in right field. He went up. That ball looked like it went on his glove. Was not interfered with by the fans out there in the moon deck. Would have been a spectacular catch, but he was unable to come down with it.
Ball 1 to Miguel Cairo.
Boy, fooled on the pitch, and Vasquez is like, what? That ball's a home run? You got to be kidding me. You got to come back in July when it really jumps out of here. Well, you talk about a good feeling for Hermida. You know that he's looking up at that scoreboard. And those zeros are getting bigger and bigger and bigger each time he gets up. Puts his guys right back in the game.
Cairo dumps it foul out of play. You know, you go back the last couple of years, Miguel Cairo, when he gets a chance to start, he started 50 games since putting on a Reds uniform. He's been well over a 300 batter. He's gotten on base over 37% of the time, and I mean, you compare those to his career numbers before he got here, and they're 40 to 60 points better depending on the category, but not this time. 2 out.
Well, so far the damage tonight against Javier Vasquez has been solely done by left-handers. Jay Bruce hit the home run, and Jeremy Hermida hit a home run. Votto's been on base, and Bruce has been on base. So everybody I've just mentioned, all left-handed hitters right there. And that's the reason why you need lefties on your roster. You get a good curveball pitcher like Javier Vasquez, and he can neutralize some of your right-handers that aren't able to negotiate that breaking ball. So you throw a couple of southpaws in there, and that curveball breaks right into him.
Right-handed batting, Ramon Hernandez bounced out to the third baseman Helms. His first time look, looks at a breaking ball, strike 1.
And that's why with the injury to Scott Rowland, the injury also to Juan Francisco was huge. Because here was an opportunity for that young man to get some regular playing time, to show a lot of people around here whether he's ready to hit big league pitching or not. Unfortunately, that calf injury that he sustained before Rowland went on the DL has also sidelined him. And he's walking around now, but I'm not so sure he's ready or even near ready to come off that list or even go down and make a rehab assignment in the minor leagues. You solve a whole lot of problems if you have him to just pencil in third base every night, especially against right-handers.
Swing and a miss, and that will retire the side. So a couple of walks setting the table for Jeremy Hermida. Didn't get it all, but got enough, bringing the Reds within 3. Against East Florida Marlins. A long-time Red indeed. Mr. Barry Larkin, Cincinnati's Moeller High School. I don't know if he made waves, but he certainly made news during the just completed road trip when the Reds were in St. Louis, where Larkin said that he always wanted to play for the Cardinals, and in fact he thought it was going to happen at some point in time during his career. It sounds to me like it was a whole lot made out of really nothing, although I wasn't there when he said it.
I didn't hear him say it. I heard it later, but I agree with you. A lot of nothing. I mean, for the majority of his career, didn't they have another shortstop over there that was pretty good?
They did. Was in the Hall of Fame, and of course Barry, a lot of people feel like he will be inducted into baseball's Hall of Fame next summer.
I don't think there's any doubt about it. He certainly is deserving.
No debate about that. All right, the Reds now within 3. They fell behind 5-0, made it 5-1, fell behind 7-1. But got the 3-run home run by Hermida. As we open up the 5th inning, Carlos Fisher in relief of Travis Wood. John Buck to be followed by Wes Helms and Scott Cousins here in the Florida 5th.
Now, what started out as a mop-up assignment for Carlos Fisher is now kind of a middle relief, more important role. Now you've tightened the ball game up to 3 runs. If Fisher can give the Reds a couple more innings right here, go up a couple of zeros, then you turn it over later in the ball game to the rest of the pitching staff, and you've got a chance.
Well, that'll back up Bruce just short of the wall, but it's a long out for Buck. 1 out.
It's the way he went for the home run his first time up. Got some pretty good power going oppage.
Here's Helms, who singled and scored in the 5-run first inning. He popped up to Jay Bruce in short right in the 3rd. Reds and the Marlins, game 2 of the series tomorrow night. Big crowd on hand. In fact, only standing room only seats are still left. First 30,000 fans tomorrow night get that Joey Votto MVP bobblehead. And then Sunday we're going to start a little bit later. So why not come on down? Tickets are available Sunday. That is a 4:10 start time because of the Flying Pig Marathon, which will be in and around downtown Cincinnati and points beyond early Sunday morning.
Now, they've already got some parking and traffic restrictions that will be going into effect tomorrow. So make sure you pick up the paper tomorrow and find out if you're coming down to the ball game. I know you're going to come down here early because you want to be one of the first 30,000 to get a bobblehead. Make sure you find out where you can drive, where you can't, where you can park. I can tell you one thing. Don't count on the landing being open. Water is up to the very top of the no parking sign there.
That'd be tough to park.
Park that big yacht of yours over there.
Submarine. Swing and a miss by Helms. Good off-speed pitch there by Carlos Fisher, and the first 2 gone here in the 5th.
Fisher did not have a good spring at all. I mean, he got ratty-tacked around pretty good everywhere down in Goodyear, Arizona. But he converted 4 out of 4 saves, opportunities there in Louisville. That's a pretty good-looking curveball. Nice young man.
It really is. Ball 1 to Scott Cousins, who has walked and struck out. Against Cousins, playing in place of the injured Chris Coghlan. Coghlan had knee surgery during the offseason. You may remember Coghlan last year during a post-game celebration. He tore the meniscus in his knee. When after the Marlins won a game, he went up to one of his teammates and did that pie in the face thing. And as he's running away from his teammate after putting the pie in his teammate's face, he tore up his knee. And he missed the rest of the year. So Coughlin spent the entire winter getting that knee right. And some of the folks were telling us he didn't bother to throw. And so all of a sudden he shows up at spring training, starts throwing, and his shoulder's been hurting him the entire year. Been playing just about every day, but it hurt so much the other day against the Dodgers that he had to ask out of a game.
Cousins, the only true left-hander in the lineup for the Marlins.
And it's a 1-2-3 inning for Carlos Fisher. Nicely done. So the Reds will come to bat in the bottom of the fifth, trailing 7-4. Had an earned run average at 2.3 last year. And this year it's right at 1 run allowed per 9 innings.
Well, forget about the earned run average. I mean, here's a guy that has pitched 5 games and he has given up 13 hits total in 5 games. So Edinson Volquez has his work cut out for him tomorrow. He threw the ball much better in his last start. That against the St. Louis Cardinals was beat by a 3-run home run from Yadier Molina. But he threw the ball very well. And it ought to be a matchup of a couple of very hard throwers. I mean, because Johnson can rush it up there. And you know that Edinson Volquez is a guy that works in the mid-90s.
And a line drive caught this time by Hanley Ramirez. So a couple of line drive outs tonight for Paul Janisch, 1 to third and a second to short.
Had a nice series in Milwaukee, Janisch did, hitting the ball square. And he's done it twice tonight, show nothing for it.
Carlos Fisher will be taken down for a pinch hitter, Chris Valleca. Struck out in a pinch hitting role in the finale of that series in Milwaukee. That's his first at bat since being brought up from the minor league. Down in Louisville in 16 games, Valleca, 306 batter with a home run and 6 runs batted in. Last year appeared in 19 games for the Reds, 6 of them as a starter. Highly touted prospect a couple of years ago, then had a down year and had to earn his way back into the regular thinking of the Reds hierarchy by putting together a nice job last year.
Yeah, that's what I really like about a guy like Valeka, because it's one thing to have one good year after another in the minor leagues and never really experience, you know, getting knocked off the peg and then being able to work your way back up. Valeka's done that. That's what you really want to find out, because in the big leagues you will have times when it's not easy and you won't be successful all the time, and you want those guys that are willing to work hard and come back at it.
You know, another highly touted Reds farmhand went through the same thing last year and is trying to bounce back this year, and that's Todd Frazier.
Yeah.
He was a #1 ranked prospect in the organization going into 2010. Got off to the terrible start, hung in there. Had a good couple of months to end the year. Trying to get back on the radar again here in 2011.
Hey, Reds fans, if you're in the restaurant industry, let JTM Food Group help you with great tasting products for your menu. Inspired solutions, better results. JTM.
Two on Valeka, trying to get aboard. Reds down 3 here in the 5th, and this one in the air and playable. 2 out. So Carlos Fisher goes an inning and 2/3, allows a couple of hits, a strikeout, no walks, and no runs. Jordan Smith will come on and pitch in the 6th inning. We'll see if the Reds can play catch up here tonight. Travis Wood allowed 5 runs in the 1st inning if you're just joining us. Reds got 1 back in the bottom of the 1st. But then Wood touched up for 2 more in the 4th inning. Reds got a 3-run home run by Jeremy Hermida to get within 3, and that's where we stand tonight, roughly halfway through it. To Drew Stubbs, who has struck out and fly to right. Stubbs trying to get aboard and set the table for Jay Bruce, and that's what he'll do on a 4-pitch walk.
That is the first right-hander to reach on base tonight for the Reds.
Here's what Jay Bruce did in the 1st inning tonight.
Another one of these and makes it a 1-run ball game. That had a great sound coming off the bat, did it not?
You'd love to hear that once more right here and right now. Not quite the same sound, and that'll end the inning. So a man left. We've played 5, and the Marlins lead 7-4. Reds Community Fund, headed up by our good friend Charlie Frank. Reds down 7-4 at the end of 5, and taking over on the mound. The third pitcher Dusty has used tonight is right-hander Jordan Smith, and he has been a busy right-hander.
Well, he has been. This is his 13th game already for Jordan Smith, and he started out the season really, really well. Gave up a run in his first outing, but that was opening day. But ever since that time, he went about a week and a half without giving up a run at all. Last 3 outings, though, he's given up 2 runs in 2 of them and 1 in the other. Brewers got to him big time.
Well, they'll face the opposing pitcher Javier Vasquez, and then we'll roll over to the top in Emilio Bonifacio and Omar Infante. 7 runs, 10 hits for the Marlins, 4 runs, only 2 hits for the Reds. Both Reds hits tonight, home runs. One by Jay Bruce, the other by Jeremy Hermida. Smith has come on and fallen behind the pitcher, 3 balls and no strikes. Mercy, mercy, mercy. There's ball 4. We'll catch all the action this season in a perfect party atmosphere. The Cincinnati Bell Riverboat deck here at Great American Ballpark. Straightaway center field. To lock in your date, call the group sales department at 513-765-7600 to book your party soon. That is a great spot. Our good friends up there at CBTS, headed up by your friend and mine, Mr. John Burns.
I sure hope we get to broadcast the game from up there sometime this year.
That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is. We've done it up there before.
Yeah, you and George have been up there a number of times. Always nice to hear George back on the air. That series in Milwaukee.
He had a great time over the weekend being around the guys, and nice to have George back. Really was.
You know, you hear George's voice and you just think about baseball. Reds baseball. What, 17 years you two were together? Is that right?
Yeah.
It's a long run.
It sure is.
Good run. Bonifacio gone on 3 pitches after Smith walked the pitcher on 4 pitches.
Yeah, Bonifacio really did Jordan Smith he gave him a lot of aid in the strikeout. I'm not so sure how many strikes he actually swung at right there. Came up empty on that breaking ball, and he thought he foul tipped it, but it actually hit the front of the plate.
Now Omar Infante, who's 0 for 2, had a sac fly run batted in. Drove in the first Marlin run in that 5-run first inning. Here's a tapper down to third. Nice pickup by Cairo, and that'll be a double play to win the inning. Nicely done by Miguel Cairo. All right, Votto, Phillips, Hermida coming up. Reds down 3 after 5.5 at Great American Ballpark. Coors Light 6th inning. And now it's time for the Coors Light freeze can. The home run by Hermida. Looked like it got a piece of the glove. In fact, the heel of the glove of Mike Stanton out there, and then into the stands, home run. But Coors Light freeze can brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light. All right, big inning here for the Reds. They're down 7-4. We're only in the bottom of the 6th inning, but they've got the big fellas coming up. And it starts with Joey Votto. Votto popped up to left field in the 1st inning. Walked and scored on the Hermida 3-run home run, and this one is laced into right center field, a base hit. Votto going to slam on the brakes, or is he? Oh my goodness.
No,
and he's out by 25 feet with his team down 3 runs here in the 6th inning. He'd like to have that one back.
Yeah, I'm surprised at that one. Now, he probably thought that ball was maybe not going to be retrieved in time. Hit hard, looks like it's going to be a gapper all the way, but the play develops right in front of him, and he can put the brakes on just about any time and slides right into an easy out. Man.
Now Brandon Phillips 0 for 2 is fly to center and popped up to second base.
I mean, hits have been hard to come by. That's the first hit the Reds have had that has stayed in the ballpark. 3 of them tonight is all they have to brag about.
Brandon Phillips in their strike. Two and one on Phillips, and there's a sinking liner that will fall in a hit. Boy, what could have been, what still might be.
That's the way you got to look at it. If you saw the series over the weekend and the low and inside pitch that Brandon Phillips hit for a home run, and then he went down on one knee. Well, very similar swing right here. He goes down to get that ball. A very good low ball hitter, nearly touching the ground with his right knee as he follows through. The Reds have their 4th knock of the night.
Hermida struck out in the 2nd inning, got his first hit, his first 3 RBIs, and his first run scored as a Red with a 3-run home run his last at bat in the 4th inning. This one in the air into short right center field. This will be an easy play. 2 out.
Jammed him that time and came right in there with a fastball. Jeremy stands well off the plate, but he has long arms, and that ball kind of jammed himself with that pitch. Looks like it had a tendency to come back a little bit over the middle of the dish, but just couldn't quite get the bat head around.
So 1 on, now 2 out, and here's Miguel Cairo's fly to right and bounced out to Infante at second base. Ball 1.
I talked earlier, Tom, about the lefty-righty splits and how the left-handers have seemingly had their way with Javier Vasquez tonight. Righties have really come up not much at all. How about the right-handers? 1 for 13. The lefties now 3 for 7 with 4 runs batted in. Come on, southpaws.
And of course, the 1 hit came just 2 batters ago by a right-handed hitter. Brandon Phillips for that 1-out single to center. Cairo 1 home run, 7 runs batted in. And the Marlins, for the first time all night, have action in their bullpen, and what a bullpen it has been. They have been absolutely spectacular through the first month of this season. And you're talking about, they've given up 5 runs in their last 4 games, but they still have the best earned run average among all bullpens in Major League Baseball. I mean, they have guys down there with just ridiculous numbers so far this year. Now, whether they can do it over the long haul, we'll find out, and so will Edwin Rodriguez. Edward Mujica is getting loose in their bullpen. He came over, you may remember, during the offseason in that trade for Cameron Maybin coming over from San Diego. And with the Padres last year, he was part of the best bullpen in Major League Baseball a year ago. Two on two to Cairo. Runner goes, and a breaking ball is towards left center. Bonifacio is there. 2 hits, 1 left. We go to the 7th. Marlins lead by 3. You by AT&T, by Cincinnati Children's in the top 10 for all selected pediatric specialties in U.S. News and World Report's 2010 Best Children's Hospitals. By your Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky Honda dealers. Visit mycincinnatihondadealer.com for current offers. And by Wendy's. You know when it's real. It's always a good stop on the ride back home. Pull into a Wendy's.
At the rate this game's going, they better be open late.
They're open very late. Top of the 7th inning. Jordan Smith on for his 2nd inning of work out of the Reds bullpen. Travis Wood, the starter tonight, didn't hang around very long. 3 1/3 innings, allowed 8 hits, 7 earned runs. Carlos Fisher, a real nice job. Inning and 2/3 of 2-hit shutout baseball. And now Smith. Broken bat, roller down to Cairo. Beautiful night here at Great American Ballpark. Good crowd tonight. Expecting nothing but bright sunshine and warmer temperatures tomorrow. A little bit of rain supposed to come back in early Sunday morning that will affect the Flying Pig. Chris, are you running in a Flying Pig?
No, not this year.
Eddie Armbruster, our engineer over on Reds Radio, he'll be running in it again this year. Well, that guy's a machine.
Oh, he's running the ultra marathons before. Yeah.
Well, Dave Armbruster,
50 and 100-mile marathons.
Triathlete.
Rob Butcher, the head of the Reds media department, he's running it.
Yep.
Multiple entries for him. He's been. In fact, there are a lot of people from the Reds organization running in it.
That's great. Well, what an event it is. I mean, they have everything going on really starting tomorrow right here at the ballpark. My kids are going to come down. They have 2 different levels for the kids. You can run just in 1 mile, but you know there's so many people down here to watch their kids that it really feels like they're finishing a big race. There you're going to look at Rob Butcher.
There's Butch.
Wish him well in running the marathon on Sunday. But you know, you don't have to run 26 miles to be a part of the Flying Pig. They have relay teams where maybe you're somebody who could build up and go out and run 6 miles. And hey, if you can go out and run 6 miles, good for you. And, you know, you put 3 other people with you, and you can do it that way. It's a great event. Great event. And people will tell you that our marathon runners have run them all over the country. I was with a guy in my neighborhood the other day, a doctor here in town, Marvin Lopez, and he's telling me he ran Boston a couple of weeks ago and said, you know, without a doubt, Cincinnati, because of all of our hills here, among the top 2 or 3 most difficult marathons to run in the country. There's a jam shot fly ball to left, and Hermida able to run it down 2 away.
I'd imagine the other reason, Tom, is that with weather in late April unpredictable, you may get a day when it's, you know, possibly 80 degrees outside, and even though they start at 6 or 7 in the morning, it can still get pretty warm by the time some of those folks end up finishing.
So I think a lot of those folks are very excited. I don't know so much about the rain, but I know a lot of them are excited that the temperatures are supposed to be, you know, pretty moderate Sunday morning. And again, the Reds will start on Sunday at 4:10 in the afternoon because of the Flying Pig Marathon.
Well, you'll have a chance to finish the marathon, go home and take a nap, and then make it back for the ballpark.
Oh, yeah, I should. With any luck. Oh, 1 pitch.
Should be able to get that 26 miles in no problem. Unless your car breaks down.
Exactly. Then I got a problem.
Yes.
One and 2 to Mike Stanton, hitless in 3 at-bats tonight. Reds have Hernandez, Yanish, and a pinch hitter due up in the bottom of the 7th inning. They're only down 3. And we know the Reds are more than capable of coming back. Can they do it tonight? A couple of good innings from Jordan Smith out of the bullpen. if you're looking for a fun group outing, why not join the Reds? Try the Mike Sells picnic tent. Enjoy a private ballpark buffet before the game, then head right on over to your seats for all the action. Call the Reds Group Sales Department at 765-7600 or visit reds.com/groups for information. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised at the great rates they have for groups to come to a ball game. So whether it's a church group or a Kiwanis club or whatever it might be, come on down to the ballpark.
Well, Tom, you talked about how good this bullpen for the Florida Marlins has been. We'll show you in numbers how good they've been. They're the only team out there with an earned run average under 2. They have pitched 70 innings, this Marlin bullpen, have given up only 48 hits. The batting average against the bullpen under 200. So through and through, these guys have really gotten it done. Now the question is, will they be able to sustain that all year long?
Edward Mujica, we told you he pitched for San Diego last year. And that 3.86 ERA is one of the ugliest ERAs of this current Marlin bullpen. Well, look at that batting average against. 212. Hernandez and out to start the 7th inning. Papa John's, better ingredients, better pizza. Order online at papajohns.com today. So now Paul Janisch with Edgar Renteria standing in the on-deck circle. Janisch is lined out to third and lined out to short. Out of play. Mujica in his 8th professional season, he led all major league relievers, every single one of them, in a strikeout to walk ratio a season ago. I mean, that gives you an idea what kind of stuff this guy has. In fact, last year, at 12 strikeouts for every walk.
Okay, so the real numbers were 72 punch-outs overall and walked 6 batters.
That is the best strikeout to walk ratio ever.
And out of those,
by a National League reliever.
And out of those 6, you wonder how many of those 6 walks were made situational type walks, where you really didn't want to go after a certain hitter because you had a base open.
On the ground down to third. First 2 retired here in the Reds' 7th inning. So here comes Edgar Renteria.
Well, last year he was kind of like Albert Pujols. Gave up more home runs than walks.
So there you have it. The next time you're wondering how in the world, what's that website that, connects one thing to the next thing to the next thing? What's that called?
6th Degree?
Yeah, whatever it is, right. So there you have it. If you were wondering how you would connect Albert Pujols and Edward Mujica, well, now you know.
What is that called again? I don't. I know it. Well, it's 6 degrees of separation is what it originally. It surrounded Kevin Bacon, the actor, right?
One on Renteria. Fastball in there, strike to get ahead.
You know, we did the 6 degrees about 5 or 6 years ago on one of our Reds broadcasts, and I think we connected Bobby Cox with Babe Ruth. Simple, but we were able to do it.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. I mean, of guys who played with each other on the same team.
Right. Or then maybe manage somebody at a different level and right on down the line. Renteria able to hold up on the swing after the appeal down to first. 2-2 on Renteria, and Mujica to the plate and misses up and in. So let's see if Renteria can work his way aboard. We roll back over to the top of the lineup next in Drew Stubbs. They have left-hander Randy Choate getting ready in the bullpen. He is getting ready for Jay Bruce. And there's a walk. Stubbs will bat, so Mujica will face Stubbs with Choate waiting in the wings.
Second walk of the year. He was probably July before he got there last year.
You can tell he's not happy about it. Walks about 10 feet onto the grass behind the mound and will make his way up to the pitching rubber. Stubbs struck out looking in the first inning, fly to right in the third, drew a walk in the fifth. Stubbs has 5 home runs and 12 runs batted in. Ball 1. Well, you got to be sure here now. I mean, you got a pitcher clearly who does not have a history of control issues. But a little bump in the road after easily retiring Hernandez and Giannis to begin the inning. He walks Renteria. It's 2-0 to Stubbs. And he looks at a fastball strike. 2-1.
That was a pitcher's pitch right there on a 2-0 count. Fastball, crisp one right down around the knees.
There's another good pitcher's pitch right there. A fastball that ran in on Stubbs' hands, almost hit him in the knuckles.
Well, you know, the scouting report will tell you that Drew Stubbs, most of his home runs and his power is when he gets his arms extended and hits the ball straight to center field. He's hit a couple of home runs to center. I think he's hit a couple of opposite field home runs. They like to jam him with the heater.
3-2. Reds down 7-4. 3-2 pitch. And a fly ball in the right center field will end the inning. We go on to the 8th. Still 7-4 Marlins. Vasquez thought his right fielder Mike Stanton had it. But it wasn't meant to be. And Hermida, a 3-run home run. Reds only have 4 hits tonight. They trail at the end of 7, 7-4. And now on to pitch out of the Reds bullpen. You knew it was a matter of time before this guy would get it together, and he's starting to get it together, is Nick Mass.
Well, I think he's kind of, his confidence is way up. He's throwing the ball much better, but it was a tweak in his mechanics that was causing him so many problems early in the year, and it was essentially trying to overthrow. And he wanted to put so much on the ball, they began to fly open. Pitchers do that. Now, that's the number one thing that pitchers do. If you're right-handed, your left shoulder starts flying over towards the first base bag, and you start pulling your head away from your arm, and soon you're leaving the ball out over the middle of the plate. But it seems to have fixed that. Lifetime against the Marlins, not bad.
And really, I think the argument can be made. And you know, when Nick Masson initially came over in the Ken Griffey Jr. deal, as John Buck rolls out to the third baseman Cairo, it was a game in Florida a couple of years ago where Masson was forced to come in with the bases loaded in a tight game. And at least his critics with the White Sox always talked about, you know, great maybe 3 runs up, great maybe 3 runs down, but you put him in a tight spot and he might struggle. Well, he was in the tightest spot when they brought him in a game. And in that game in Florida 2 years ago, he worked out of the bases loaded jam. And really from that moment on, you know, outside of the first month of last season, you'd be hard pressed to find a better setup man in the National League the last 2.5 years than Nick Masson.
You'd be hard pressed to find any pitcher coming out of any bullpen with as good a variety of pitches that are all quality pitches. I mean, there are guys that throw harder than Masson, but he fires it up there mid to high 90s. We've seen him hit 98, 99 miles an hour. But I mean, his breaking stuff is so good. And he developed that really because when he was in the Chicago White Sox organization, before he got traded for Ken Griffey Jr., and there's the hammer of a curveball, but he was a starter. He had 127 starts as a minor leaguer. So you're able to develop those secondary pitches much more than if you come up through an organization as a reliever, where they tell you, young man, you got a good fastball and a good slider, stick with those. And sometimes that can be confusing for a reliever because you're not sure which 2 are your best ones on a certain night.
Strike 1 to Scott Cousins. Marlins got 5 runs on 5 hits and a couple of walks in the first inning. Ever since, they have a total of 5 hits, and 4 of those came when they scored the 2 runs in the 4th. And a 1-2-3-8 for Masson. Bruce, Votto, Phillips. Reds are hoping for more. Down 3 as they bat in the 8th. Reds fans, make your Friday night better. Go to foxsportsohio.com and enter the Papa's in Your House contest. You can win a Fox Sports Ohio prize pack, and one grand prize winner will win a pizza party. The Papa's in Your House contest is presented by Papa John's. Bottom of the 8th. And we talked about a left-hander that was getting ready in the 7th inning. And he's on the pitch now, and that's Randy Choate. This guy, I beg your pardon, they're going to Mike Dunn instead. And when you haven't allowed an earned run all year long, why would you give the ball to anybody else?
Well, especially when you get to the part of the lineup where you have back-to-back left-handers. This is the one thing that Dusty Baker really does not like about having Jay Bruce batting in front of Joey Votto. You have a late in the ball game, you bring a left-handed specialist in, and he's in there for 2 batters. You love to go lefty, righty, lefty in a perfect world, but it doesn't always work like that. He's a hard thrower. Speaking of a hard-throwing lefties, I want to send out our best and best get well wishes to former Reds great pitcher and former Reds pitching coach Don Gullet, recovering from bypass surgery up in Columbus.
Indeed.
Gully, we know you're doing well and continue to get well. We want to see you at the ballpark here real soon.
One of the all-time great guys.
One of the better pitching coaches the Reds have ever had.
One of the best pitchers the Reds have ever had. Bruce slams that one off his front foot.
The quote from Willie Stargell upon Don Gullet's debut when he pitched against the Pittsburgh Pirates.
He was 19 years old, right?
He was 19 years old, and after the game they asked Willie Stargell what it was like to face Don Gullet. He said, that boy can throw a ball through a car wash and it wouldn't get wet.
Great line. One and 2 to Jay Bruce, and it's in the dirt. Bruce has handled the left-handers pretty well the last couple of years. Be a .277 against them last year, 10 points less than that so far this year. So he has gotten considerably better from where he was when he first came to the big league.
Yep.
Now Mike Dunn is a converted outfielder. He was drafted and signed originally by the New York Yankees as an outfielder.
Boy, he just missed that one. But a good swing on a fastball, just got under it.
Now Joey Votto, 1 out. You know, Dunn only hit 160 in a couple of years as an outfielder in the Yankees organization, and he was not happy at all when they spoke to him about going to the mound. He only pitched a little bit in high school in New Mexico and a little bit for the Community College of Southern Nevada, but he changed his mind, went to the mound to begin that conversion in 2006 and wound up pitching for the Yankees 3 years later.
And in the big leagues now, here he is with his 3rd different organization in 3 years. Came up with the Yankees, went over the Atlanta Braves, and now he's with the Marlins. Came over in that Dan Uggla trade with Omar Infante. The other odd thing is that the first trade that he had when he came from the Yankees and went to the Atlanta Braves, he was traded for the Marlins tonight starter, Javier Vasquez. So there's your 1 degree of separation.
Two to count on Joey Votto. Struck him out.
Boy, he's just playing good old country hardball right now.
The Reds are running out of outs.
That's just a little 4-seam fastball that had a little pump on it. 95. You know, you used to get all excited when you see a left-hander throw 95, but around here, you don't get excited until he throws about 105. And you know who we're talking about.
Brandon Phillips looks at a ball. They're going to leave Dunn in there with 2 outs and nobody on. You have a left-handed batter in Hermida next. Of course, the Reds could take him down for Chris Heisey. Reds down to their final 4 outs of the ninth. And they're trailing by 3. Neither team has scored since the Hermida home run in the 4th inning. Brandon 1 hit and 3 at bats. He singled into center field in the 6th inning. Phillips. They'd certainly like to make things a lot tougher for their closer, Leo Nunez, who has 7 saves on the year. The Reds can get closer by the time we arrive in the 9th. 3-1 pitch. And it's fouled out of play. Count has gone full on Phillips. Reds have already used Valleca and Renteria off their bench. So they have Heisey, Hannigan, and Johnny Gomes left. Johnny Gomes might be the guy we see for Hermida should we get that far. And we'll get that far. And here comes who? Yep, Johnny Gomes.
Well, the options for Edwin Rodriguez is to come in here and bring another pitcher in, but he doesn't have anybody down in the bullpen. So Johnny Gomes is going to face a left-hander.
Well, they have a pile of right-handers to choose from down there, and Clay Hensley, we've already seen Mujica, and Ryan Sanchez has been unbelievable this year.
I like those numbers right there. What has really done Johnny Gomes in lately, you know, he started taking so many walks that he may have lost being aggressive in the strike zone with the fastball, and then he started chasing the breaking ball. And he's worked on that hard in the last few days in batting practice, seeing a lot of breaking balls, trying to see, just kind of get the feel of watching him in. A little different story here. This guy likes to come right after you. And he gets a first pitch breaking ball. So, you know, the more you see of those, the more likely the next pitch is going to be a fastball.
Johnny only hitting .200. He does have 6 home runs, 16 runs batted in, has walked 19 times, but only 15 hits and 75 at bats. One on, 2 out. Reds down 3. We're in the last of the 8th inning. They've got a fastball on the outside corner, a strike. Choate is the left-handed specialist in the bullpen. Dunn, you can get a look by his stuff, is not a left-handed specialist. When you're coming out of that bullpen throwing 94, 95 miles an hour from the left side, you can get a lot of people out.
Yeah, you know, the other way to determine that just by looking at the stat sheet is to see how many games he's been in versus how many innings pitched. Even though he's been in more games than innings pitched, he's pitched several times where he's pitched a full inning and struck out the side.
3 balls and 2 strikes now on Johnny Gomes.
I like the fact that Gomes is making him throw the ball over the plate here.
We'll find out how much confidence this young man has in his breaking ball, because it's 3-2 on Johnny Gomes, who's looking dead red here.
You've got to be looking dead red. Hunting for a piece of cheese.
Got a fastball and fouled it away. Johnny tugging on that helmet and digging in. 3 balls, 2 strikes on Gomes. 2 outs. We're in the 8th inning. Dunn going to back off the rubber and back off the mound entirely. Now the 3-2 to Gomes. And it's in the air left center field. This will end the inning. 1 man left. We go to the 9th. Marlins still lead 7-4. Interdivision matchup. One of the first 20,000 fans in attendance receive a one-of-a-kind Sparky Anderson bronze statue courtesy of John Morrell. For tickets, the Reds and the Cardinals, 513-381-REDS, or visit Reds.com today.
After every Reds game, stay with Fox Sports Ohio for Reds Live, the place with the most comprehensive highlights of your Cincinnati Reds, plus hear from Dusty Baker and the stars of the game. Reds Live, brought to you by the Kings Honda in the Kings Auto Mall. Visit KingsHondaUSA.com.
Johnny Gomes remains in a game to play left field. Top of the 9th inning, and now on the mound with the Marlins leading 7-4 is Bill Bray. Nick Massett a perfect inning. Jordan Smith 2 scoreless innings. And an inning and 2/3 of scoreless work in front of Smith by Carlos Fisher tonight.
Yeah, pretty good outing overall for the Reds bullpen. The only blemish, that base hit that was given up by Carlos Fisher, but that was really a bad hop. Well hit ball by Hanley Ramirez, but still kind of a bad hop that got past Brandon Phillips to score those extra 2 runs. Those 2 runs are big right now.
Leo Nunez, the Marlin closer, cranking it up down in their bullpen. Broken back, shallow center field. Stubbs will run it down. And Donnie Murphy, the pinch hitter for Dunn, is retired. Bonifacio led off the game with a triple to right center field, scored the first of 5 runs in that Florida first inning, and has added another extra base hit when he doubled and scored in the 4th. Bonifacio, a jack of all trades. I mean, can play anywhere and everywhere. Last year played every position for the Marlins except pitcher, catcher, and first base. And you know he could do any of those. Bonifacio, originally an Arizona Diamondback, traded to the Washington Nationals for reliever John Roush, and then came to the Marlins in a big deal involving starter Scott Olson and outfielder Josh Willingham. Bottom of the 9th for the Reds, it'll be Miguel Cairo, Ramon Hernandez, and Paul Yanish. Reds have been held to just 4 hits tonight. 3-2 to Bonifacio. Jay Bruce with a home run in the first inning. Votto has a hit. Phillips has a hit. Hermida, a 3-run homer. In the air for Joey Votto in foul territory, and that's a second out. Well, all 3 of these games against the Marlins, you knew you were going to run into some very, very good pitching. None better, however, than tomorrow night's starter in Josh Johnson. I mean, you're getting the best 3 starters the Marlins can throw at you. On any given night, you can throw Anibal Sanchez in there, maybe rather than Vasquez or Nolasco. This Marlin team, hey, there are a lot of people that felt like before this year began that if this very young bullpen could come together, that they could challenge the Phillies and challenge the Braves.
Well, what they've shown so far, Tom, is great pitching, good defense, but not the ability to score a lot of runs. Now, that might be part due to what you're going to see in that National League East with so many good pitchers. Braves are loaded with great pitchers. Obviously, the Phillies have a tremendous starting rotation, although they're nicked up in the bullpen quite badly. But you're going to see one of the premier pitchers in all of baseball tomorrow night. If you don't have a ticket to the ball game, make sure you tune into the broadcast, because Josh Johnson is worth the price of turning that TV on.
And of course, we know, as you brought up earlier, Chris, Edinson Volquez can match him pitch for pitch on a good night.
Absolutely. He's going to have to. I mean, Edinson Volquez, this is a situation where you got ace versus ace. And that's why you pick him to be in the opening day starter. You hope that down the line you match up with your guy against their guy as much as possible. You know, you don't want your number 5 guy going against the other team's ace every time you come into a weekend.
1-2 to count, and that one's lined down the third base line by a diving Cairo, and Omar Infante goes into second base with a 2-out double. First hit for the Marlins since the 2-run 4th inning. Come for the Reds, stay for more fun. Visit the Cincinnati Zoo and Botanical Garden and make it a weekend getaway. Book your trip now at CincinnatiUSA.com. Hanley Ramirez came into this series hitting a .197. He's doubled, scored, bounced to short, had a 2-run single to center field in the 4th inning, then grounded out to 3rd in the 7th. Talked about Hanley Ramirez. He has not hit a home run so far this year. The longest such streak for him to begin a season in his young major league career. The last time he homered was against Roy Oswalt, September the 6th, 2010. And he's swinging like he wants to get that monkey off his back. He's gone 130 plate appearances since that last home run. And that is the 2nd longest streak for him overall in his career, going back to 2006. Milwaukee leading Houston 4-0. That game in the bottom of the 6th inning in Houston. Atlanta's taken a 3-2 lead over the Cardinals. Atlanta bats in the bottom of the 8th inning. And Arizona's jumped on Carlos Zambrano for 2 runs in the 1st. That means the first 2 games of that Chicago Diamondback series, Arizona has scored 9 runs in the 1st inning. 7 last night against Ryan Dempster, and 2 tonight against Zambrano. Swing and a miss, and the bat goes flying into the stands, and thankfully everybody's all right down there. So that'll do it in the ninth. All right, we'll see if the Reds can roar back. Cairo, Hernandez, Giannis, you're hoping for more, down by 3. Double play started by Miguel Cairo, Brandon Phillips, Joey Votto, and that is that to take care of Omar Infante back in the 6th inning. Marlins bring on their closer, a perfect 7 of 7 in save chances thus far this year. It's right-hander Leo Nunez. He lost his job about 3/4 of the way through last year, but inserted again as the Florida closer, and those are very impressive numbers. Miguel Cairo, Ramon Hernandez, due up third in the inning is Paul Janisch. And then the pitcher spot. Reds fell behind big right from the get-go. A 5-run Marlin first inning. Reds got one back in the bottom of the first. Marlins went ahead 7-1 with 2 in the fourth. Before Jeremy Hermida brought him within 3 with a 3-run home run in the bottom of that inning. And you thought, well, this is right up the Reds' alley. They've played a lot of games like this already this year. But things have been very quiet for both teams since the fourth, and that's out number 1 in the ninth.
Nunez is one of those all-effort pitchers. I mean, you see his delivery, and you just wonder how he can repeat it enough to throw strikes, but he finds his release point nicely. Blew 8 saves last year, saved 30 overall. He is perfect 7 for 7 this year. Kind of drops his arm angle a little bit. And in addition to being able to throw mid-90s, that ball really tails in on right-handers. I mean, it has a tendency just to eat your knuckles right up.
Ramon Hernandez is 0 for 3.
Take a look at his motion in slow-mo right here. This part of it looks pretty simple, but then he really pushes off with his leg, fires off towards the first base side, but that's only after he's already released it. It's okay to spin, but you don't want to pull off there with your head and your shoulders. He's pitched a lot the last couple of years, and you wonder over the years how it takes its toll on certain pitchers, especially these high-energy pitchers like Nunez. 68 games last year, 75 games the year before. But like Jim Cott used to say, Tom, it'll rust off before it wears off.
Driven hard into right center field. It's going to fall for a base hit. Off the glove of Cousins. And Ramon Hernandez will go in sliding with a double. So you're one batter or one base runner away from bringing the tying run to the plate. Ramon Hernandez safe at second base. Safe and secure. New York Life. Right now, Paul Janisch. Chris Heisey has moved to the on-deck circle. And Janisch puts a charge in the wall. Deep into left center field, and that ball will carry up over the wall. Hernandez going to round third. He will score. It is a 7-5 game, and the Reds bring the tying run to the plate.
Well, if hitting the ball hard got you a base hit every time, Paul Janisch would have 3 of them, if not 4 of them on the night. He turns on this fastball and running in on his hands, and he jolts it right over the head of the left fielder into the gap. He lined out to the third baseman, Janisch did, lined out to the shortstop, and he finally gets a ball where nobody's out there. Randy St. Clair, the Marlins pitching coach, will make his way out to the mound. St. Clair has been the one constant in his coaching staff over the years. Of course, his last coaching job was with the Washington Nationals. Before that, he was a pitching coach with the Montreal Expos. In fact, he pitched a short stint with the Cincinnati Reds back around 1988 or 89. Pitched something like 13 games as a Red Leg.
Well, pep talk out on the mound there. All right, here's Heisey. He had 4 pinch hit home runs a season ago. They start him off with a first pitch breaking ball. They know Heisey's up there looking for a fastball to clobber.
Well, there's not too many hitters around that can turn on a fastball as well as Chris Heisey. Somehow he gets his bat head on a ball that seemingly is 2 inches off his chest. They may just keep that breaking ball on him.
Fooled him with a slider down and away, and it's quickly 0-2.
The outfield Marlins have playing very deep. They want to prevent a double. Nothing over the outfielder's head, but will stay in the ballpark.
And guarding the line at least as third is Wes Helms. Playing well off the line at first is Gaby Sanchez. 0-2 on Heisey. And not a fastball yet in this at bat from Nunez to Heisey.
Now the word is out.
Heisey, the tying run of the plate. After back-to-back doubles by Hernandez and Giannis. And it's popped up behind the plate and out of play.
Looked like he had a hanger there that got away with it.
Reds with 6 come from behind wins so far this year. Do they have a 7th in them here tonight? 1-2 on Heisey. And hanging around. Barely got a piece, but a piece of it nonetheless. Slider after slider after slider, all speed after all speed, and this is back to Heisey.
Yeah, the slider is the pitch that will go away from Chris Heisey, and I think Nunez also throws a splitter. That looks like the pitch off speed as well, Tom. You get the hitter way out in your front foot, but it has a tendency to move in on him a little bit. But he has not challenged him with a fastball yet.
1-2 on Heisey. And now 2 balls and 2 strikes. Bruce Stubbs waits in the on-deck circle. Reds now just 1 base runner away from the potential winning run batting here in the bottom of the 9th. Giannis a run scoring double to make it a 2-run game. And a 2-2 on the way to Heisey. Good eye there. What an at-bat by Heisey. Fell behind 0-2 and looked bad doing it. Fouled away a couple of tough pitches. And now has worked it to a 3-2 count. Well, he finally got that fastball, and boy, he was right on it.
That's amazing, too, because you've seen 8 pitches in the at-bat. All of them off-speed pitches. And now he finally throws you a fastball. And, I mean, this is no ordinary fastball. And he barely misses that from hitting it real hard.
Well, now what does Nunez do here? You throw him a 3-2 fastball.
Well, you got to stick with your best pitch.
I mean, you know what Nunez is thinking about here. I mean, Chris, you know, look, if my best pitch is a fastball, you know, I probably feel good about being able to throw that for at least a strike.
I think he's only thrown 1 out of the other pitches for strikes. I mean, ones that would have been called strikes anyway.
So, I mean, if you're him, what do you do here?
I'm throwing a fastball. All right. I mean, that's my bread and butter. I know that it's Chris Heisey's strength. I'm going to try to locate it. I'm going to keep it down. I'm going to keep it on the outer part of the plate.
3-2 the count. Heisey the tying run of the plate here in the bottom of the 9th inning. Struck him out on a breaking ball. And the Reds are down to their final out of the night.
That is a nasty pitch right there. Wow.
Was catcher John Buck excited, but one more big threat for the Reds. Drew Stubbs with 5 home runs this year. More than capable of tying this thing up with one hearty crack of the bat. 2 outs, bottom of the 9th. And there's a base hit into left field. They are going to wave around Giannis. He will score. And Stubbs has made it a 1-run game, and Jay Bruce is coming up.
This is real interesting right here now because you've got your best base stealer on first base. And then the Marlins are playing their outfield deep, trying to prevent against the double.
I think what's interesting, too, here, Chris, is, I mean, if you're Edwin Rodriguez, a manager, are you going to go get your closer? You have the left-hander Randy Choate, who is a left-handed specialist, and I mean a left-handed specialist only,
right,
down in that bullpen.
And you've got back-to-back left-handers here. One of them, the MVP of the league last year.
Wow, it looks like they're going to stay. Well, we'll see if they throw over a couple of times. That's a tying run at first. Winning run, Jay Bruce in the plate. And it's ball 1 low and away.
Now, that pitch that Nunez is throwing is actually a changeup. I thought it was a splitter. I've got a better look at his grip, and it's a changeup, and he throws that actually more often than he does his slider. It'll be fastball changeup to Bruce here in this situation.
1-0 to Bruce. Chase ball 2 there. Fastball up and away from him.
Boy, people in the ballpark just hoping that Bruce can either do it right here or at the very least get Joey Votto to the plate.
Tying run, Stubbs at first base with 2 away, bottom of the 9th inning.
Nunez not easy to steal off of. Last year, there were 6 attempts off of Nunez. 4 of them were thrown out. He has not given up a stolen base this year.
1-1 pitch on Jay Bruce. Started 2. Did he go? They appeal. No.
It's the kind of ball game the Reds won last year.
2-1 pitch on Bruce. Stubbs a tying run. There he goes. Swung on and missed. Throw down to second base. No chance. And Stubbs now in scoring position. His 9th stolen base in 10 attempts. Can Bruce now get him in? Can Bruce get him in? Jay homered in the first, walked and scored in the 4th. Has since bounced to first and popped up to shallow center. Reds have scored a pair here in the bottom of the 9th inning. They need 1 more to tie, and they're down to their final out. Not to do. Oh, he barely got a piece. And I mean barely got a piece.
That looks like a changeup, and it was a 91-mile-an-hour pitch. Nunez's fastball is mid to high 90s. This kid's pumped up right now.
Question is Jay Bruce pumped up? Trying to tie this game with a hit. Reds get 2 in the bottom of the ninth, but 2 is not enough as Bruce strikes out looking to end the game.
Nice comeback for the Reds, even though they come up a run short. You know, when you give up 5 runs in the first inning and your offense really pretty much goes to sleep until the very end of the ball game, except for that home run by Jeremy Hermida, there wasn't much going on here. The left-handers did their part today. The right-handers fell asleep. They've got their hands full tomorrow with Josh Johnson, but it'll be a good one. Not meant to be tonight.
Nope, 7-6 the final, and the Reds are back to a 500 team, 13 wins against 13 losses. All right, it's time now for Reds Live, the post-game edition, and let's check in downstairs with Jim Day.